Alright, so I'm out here rucking, and as we're going along, I like to point out, find stuff like this. This is a birch tree. I think it's a yellow birch, but anyway, this bark right here makes great tinder. Really good tinder. Goes right up with a ferro rod. So I actually carry a little pouch on the waistband of my ruck. As I'm going along, I take advantage and just grab a bunch of curlicues, a bunch of strips of it. Just ball it up, put it in a bag in the ruck, got yourself some fire starter. Alright everybody, I figure I'll do a quick little video on firecraft. I've tried to do this video, I don't know, maybe 10 times when I've been out here in the past, and it never really comes out how I like it. So I guess today I'll try and try this again and see how it goes. But basically, I'm out here on a little rock. I'm testing out this Velocity jungle rig, and got my medium Alice pack there, and just out here enjoying being outside and working on my wilderness skills a little bit, doing some training. So this is a pit I built. We're out in a state forest right now. Excuse me. And everything's real wet. It's been raining for a couple days, and it's supposed to rain again today, but I figured I'd take a few minutes and show you guys how I build a fire. There's a lot of different ways to do it. There's a lot of different ways I do it, but when things are pretty wet or there's snow on the ground, I'll just show you kind of the basics. So right here, as you can see, when things are really wet or I really need a fire, want to get good airflow, I build my fire on a platform, okay? So I'll take you through step by step. This is the very base at the bottom. Right here, I just got 2 burned up logs that I used last time I was here. And I always take my hand and try and dig out a nice channel under my fire. So I have an easy time to blow air up in from either side, and it sucks the air up and pushes it up and feeds your fire oxygen. So there's 3 key elements to fire making, and that's going to be fuel, oxygen, and heat. Without any of those 3, your fire is going to suffer, okay? So basically, the goal of today, I just want to get a decent little coal base so I can boil some water for coffee. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you guys that. So anyway, made my channel. And what I did was I just took 3 dry logs that I had stashed here from last time. That's going to be my base. That's going to be my fire lay on the platform. Here is where I'm going to build my fire, okay? I always like to get my fire up off the ground. The ground sucks of heat, and all the moisture from the ground works its way into your fire if you build it right on the fire. So yeah, well, we'll get started. I like I said, I always like to use fuel for this portion, or some of my thicker wood. That way, as the fire burns down and ends up catching on this, it'll get hot and a good coal base will start. So kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm looking at here. I got pine needles, some birch bark. I got a pocket full of yellow birch bark that I grabbed when I came in. And this stuff is going to be my tinder, okay? This is what's going to catch the spark from either my ferro rod, lighter, whatever I got. This is going to be my tinder. And then I haven't separated any of this yet. I just grabbed a bunch of branches, but I'm going to separate things from thinnest all the way to thickest, if you can kind of make out that thickness level there. All right. So I try to have 5 different sizes at least, sometimes more, sometimes less, but I work my way up from thin stuff like this for my kindling. That's going to lay right on top of my tinder. Work up to stuff this size, this size, this size, this size, and then eventually you guys get the idea. We get gradually bigger and bigger until we're burning stuff like this, and then onto logs like that. So I'm going to go ahead, separate my tinder into piles, and set up a fire lay, and I'll get back with you guys. So it's not going to be a long fire today, so I just kind of piled up what I need, but basically so you guys can get a look, I got 3 different thicknesses of sticks there. That's like my second thickest, third thickest, and my thickest size. And I got my Tinder over there and in my pocket. My thinnest size of kindling, I got a side ready to lay on top of my Tinder. And I went ahead and built a little log cabin, did another fire lay over the top with some real thin stuff. And that's basically what I'm gonna pile my Tinder on, light it, put this kindling on top of it, let it burn, feed it air, feed it air, feed it air, bring it up, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and teepee my next thickness on and gradually work my way up to the thick stuff and get a nice little burn going. So that's kind of the plan. Figured I'd give you guys a look and yeah, go from there. I don't have a lot of sunlight left. My preferred method of starting fires is ferro rod, but can't beat a big lighter for ease. Since we're on a time crunch, just gonna go ahead and let this burn up. Get the shit going a little bit. Pine needles are smoking pretty hard. Like I said, everything's pretty damn wet. Alright, we're getting there now. So pine needles, I don't love to use in this area. There's a lot of them. But even when they look pretty dry, they still have a tendency to hold a good bit of moisture. But you can see the idea. Once you know you got good heat and you got good fuel, you just need to give it a lot of oxygen. Alright, let that burn down a little bit before I add anything else. I don't want to smother anything. But there's a lot of different ways to make a fire, a lot of different setup. One thing all of them have in common is prep work. If your prep work's not good, your fire's not going to be good. It's not going to light. Get all the stuff you need ahead of time. Have it all laid out, all processed, and gather way more than you need. You know, if you're going to spend the night, it takes a lot of wood. I don't know if you guys have spent a lot of nights in the woods, but if you're really burning a fire, try and stay warm, or to cook on, it takes a lot of wood. You know, cooking, people have a misconception that the flame does a lot of the cooking. For me, I found a good coal base is really better. If you want everything to cook nice and even, the flames can kind of burn things and not really cook the inside. But you know, honestly guys, this is an important skill to master. Probably use it a lot more than you will ever get in a gunfight or anything. But wilderness skills are important, and fire making something you can practice pretty much anywhere. You know, I know I wasn't recording straight through, but that fire, gathering all the materials I needed for it, laying it, lighting it, probably a grand total of 15-20 minutes. You know, obviously, if I was going to stay here all night, I'd need a lot more fuel. I have an axe and a folding saw in my kit for processing wood for that purpose, but you can do a lot with a little. Fire making's a good skill. It's worth practicing. A teepee is a lot better for light. Whereas the log cabin setup is better for heat and cooking. You know, there's a lot of different ways to make a fire. If you guys have any questions or you want to see more of these kind of videos, I don't mind coming out and doing a bunch more firecraft videos. But I figured I'd put something out, at least with the basics, get you guys going. It's not rocket science, but it's an important skill to know. Practice with natural tinder. Practice when things are wet. And I know I used a Bic lighter today, but practice with a bunch of different skills. I like to use a ferro rod quite a bit, flint and steel. Excuse me, flint and steel, matches. I don't really do the bow drill thing, a lot of the friction fire stuff. I just don't think it's that practical when I can carry a lighter or flint and steel. But, you know, it's something I guess I'll learn one of these days, but it's worth practicing, guys. It's an important skill to know. So, that's it for now. So, as you guys can see, or you can't see, that's log cabin method. You can see how I'm not even blowing it, and oxygen's flowing right through that fire, keeping it nice and hot. So we'll get a good coal base that way. This is my favorite fire lay, and I think it's the most versatile. So I just figured I'd show you. This is the kind of stuff I'm looking to grab when I'm grabbing firewood. Okay, dead standing. It's dry. If it snaps like that, you know it's dry. It's up off the ground. There's different thickness sizes, and there's plenty of it, boys. So that's the kind of stuff you want to look for. I'm gonna try and find blowdowns like we got here, right? You find limb like that, snap that off, and I got all those different sizes of wood. A lot of the time I'll take whole saplings like that and just process them down with my axe or my saw, and then I got wood for the evening. So yeah.